My name is Anna, and you are listening to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast 30 for 30 edition with your host and my stepdad, Emmett Michaels.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. This is your host, Emmett Muckles. We are doing it again. I want to give thanks to all those people. You know, this is really important that you give thanks for the things that you have and the things that you anticipate. It's really important for you to have appreciation. As I said in an earlier podcast, if you go back a couple of episodes, you will hear me talk about gratitude and appreciation. They're not quite the same thing, but you must exercise both of them. That is why I give thanks continuously on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast for you guys showing up, downloading, connecting with me, and I can connect with you so that we can share positive vibes and positive energy. So I want to literally thank everybody who's been downloading and getting on the podcast, you know, just absorbing the information. Thank you so much. Today we want to talk about something that is really not as prevalent as it once was in this existence, which is humility or being humble. You know, once upon a time, that was a virtue, and a virtue is defined as a good quality. Today, it's all about the self, the promotion of self, particularly if you are looking at and kind of digesting media. That was one of the other topics that I talked about, which was turn off the television so that you're not biased or influenced by outside opinions that really don't have a whole lot of value in your life. Having said that, this is really important because sometimes you have to just be humble. You have to let go of the ego, because that's what it usually comes down to. Your ego is talking to you and promoting the self. And when we promote just our own agenda or our own self without looking at the outside influences that are prevalent, we tend to get into trouble, or we tend to cause strife. We cause strife in relationships. We cause tension in relationships between people, because then we're not inclusive when we're not being humble. You know, it's really prevalent in sports where people are promoting themselves, and a lot of it comes from the fact that individuals are insecure about something, so they do the opposite of how they feel, which is bolster themselves or not be humble, not show humility. And this is just not the way to go. You know, it's okay to have a facade, you know, just kind of ingest, pump yourself up so that you can get ready for something. But when it comes at the expense of other people, that is not a good look. You know, I mean, we see it constantly, particularly in politics nowadays, where there is just no sense of humility. There's no sense of inclusion. It's all about the self, and the ego is just running rampant in our society. So this is where you have to kind of go within and look at the world through someone else's eyes. Look at yourself through someone else's eyes. How are you coming across? You know, I do it myself because I have this kind of perspective or this air sometimes of being really excited, and I can not be as humble, but I learned something. There's always someone better at something than you. There's always someone who has more than you, and that's fine. But there's also someone who has less than you. So if you're appreciative of where you are, if you have gratitude about your life, you can't help but be humbled by all the wonderful things that your life entails. And if you look at the grand scheme of things, and I saw this last weekend, a friend of mine proposed marriage to his girlfriend, and we took a Ferris wheel ride. And the Ferris wheel, we were on the Navy Pier in Chicago, and I was able to look down. There were a multitude of people who were just milling about. And in that instance, I realized how small each one of us are, but we contribute to the whole. And if you're not humble, it throws off that collective of the whole when you're a part of this diaspora. So being humble and having humility is of dire importance. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some instances where you have to assert yourself. You have to be arrogant, and you have to, now I wouldn't say arrogant, but you have to know what it is that you can do, what you're capable of, and stress that point. And it may come off as arrogant or not humble, but at the root of everything, you have to make sure that you have this certain amount of humility when you're dealing with your constituency, or when you're dealing with people who aren't your direct contact, because that can really turn a relationship rocky, because people will be like, that person is an ass. I don't want to deal with them. They're all about themselves. They're not looking for the team. They're not looking for the community. They're not looking for the society. So humility is a part of moving forward. It's a part of letting other people know that talents or things are accessible to them as well, that it's just not solely in one being's control. Anyway, so I'm going to give you the definition of humble: having or showing modest or low estimate of one's own importance, which means I am not the center of the universe. In my world, I may be, but in the global scheme of things, I am part of that billion trillionaire existence, because I am a part of the whole. Till next time, love yourself. Look in that mirror and just appreciate what's there. Appreciate what you've been given. Appreciate where you are now, so that when you acquiesce to more, it will be built upon a foundation of gratitude, appreciation, and love. Till next time, love you all. Peace.